Great. So, my name is Julia, and I am Schools Partnership Manager at Little Angel Theater. We also have Sarah with us, who is Head of Creative Learning at Little Angel Theater. We have Ella, who is Commercial, Retail, and Hires Manager at Little Angel Theater. And then we're also joined by Greg, who is the head teacher and on our board of trustees, and he's head teacher at Winton Primary, which is one of our partner schools. So, plan for today is to talk about our school partnership program and all the ways in which Little Angel Theater works with schools. And we'll have some time at the end for any questions, but obviously quite informal. So do feel free to message anything in the chat as we go along. So I'll start off just by saying a little bit about Little Angel Theatre and where we are, what we do. So we are a London-based theatre in Islington. We've been around since 1961, and we specialize in puppetry. And all of our shows are for children and families. We have them in-house and shows that we make ourselves. We also do book adaptations and different adaptations of shows that tour around the UK as well. And our shows are visited by local families and young people in schools, and also other families and young people come to see our shows as well. We do work within our local community, bringing creative projects and activities to local community members and having them come to us. And we also have partner schools that we work with more closely, doing workshops and seeing shows and things like that. So, because today is all about schools partnership for schools that are not just in London, outside of London as well, we thought it would be nice to hear from people who know our school partnership program best. So, we have Sarah, who's going to talk a little bit about the local school partnership that we have at Little Angel, and then we'll hand over to Greg to hear some of his feedback on how it's been working with his school and Little Angel Theatre. So, Sarah, can I hand over to you?
Yes, so 8 years ago, we decided that we wanted to find a way to make our shows and our activities more accessible to schools. Um, we know that budgets are tight and finances are tough, but we were very much aware that most of the children in our surrounding areas probably didn't get the opportunity to come to our theatre and see our shows or engage with our activities. So we put together the idea of a school partnership programme, and we piloted it with one of our very local primary schools to see how it would work. It went really well, and fast forward 8 years later, we have 8 local primary schools now who are our local partner schools who pay a contribution annually to be a partner school. And for that, they get to come and see every single show that we put on at Little Angel Theatre. And we go into their school and we deliver lots of different workshops, and we take performances into their schools, which means a lot of children who live very near where we are get to access our work where they wouldn't necessarily otherwise be able to do so. The National School Partnership came out of the idea that this was of such benefit, and the schools that were our local partner schools, which we'll hear from Greg in a second, appreciated it so much. We thought, how can we get this to more schools? And hence the idea of having national school partnerships was born. So I'm going to hand over to Greg, who is going to elaborate a little bit on my very vague point of saying they love it, they think it's great. So Greg, could you give us a bit more detail about why you love your school partnership with Little Angel Theatre so much and why it's so great?
Yeah, I'll do my best. So, yeah, my name is Greg. I'm the head teacher at Winton Primary. So we're based in London, in Islington. We're lucky to be roughly walking distance to the theatre. So we do access lots of shows as part of the being a partnership school. And on top of that, we've engaged with lots of workshops, not just for the children, but for the staff as well. So something that's been great for us as staff CPD, we did a shadow puppet workshop because that linked in nicely with Science Week that was happening around the time. So in terms of light and dark and shadows, but it is really good just to actually get this. It's one of the most popular staff meetings we've ever done, and it really brought the staff together. And it was a great team building exercise as we were building these puppets and then presented them at the front at the end. But it also built skills for our teachers that they could bring into the classroom, and I saw those skills being carried into lessons. And like I say, it linked in really nicely with a science topic we were doing at the time. We've also had workshops in class where the children have made their own puppets, and that links really nicely in with the DT topic that we were doing. And all of this ties in obviously very, very nicely to the English curriculum, and that's where it's made a big difference for us. As a school, we're a one form entry school, and obviously budgets for us, as everybody else, are extremely tight. So I really have to go out there and work with the partners that make the biggest difference to the school. And I would say that the partnership with the Little Angel has been one of the strongest that we've had. Um, You'd have heard that I'm also now on the board of trustees, and that's because working so closely as a school with Little Angel, it was so effective and so brilliant for our children when our children would never have accessed this otherwise. Even with free tickets, they wouldn't have gone to the theatre. So us bringing them to the theatre and engaging and bringing it into them has been so valuable in terms of building sort of, cultural capital and giving them the experiences that they can then go on to write about and bring into their lessons and hopefully inspire them to go to other theatres, do other shows, get involved in DT, get involved in drama, and just engage with their books more. Children are going home and making little dioramas and puppets and things in their own time over the summer holidays because of the skills that they've learned here and inspired by the things that they've seen. And it feels a little bit more real, I suppose, than maybe taking children to a West End where they're a long way from it all. And it's just, adults performing, but actually seeing puppets and things that they can make similar things themselves has been really eye-opening for all the children. We're a school with really high free school meals and pupil premium, so offering something like this has been really invaluable. So yeah, really massively thank you to the team for everything they do and continue to do, and we'll hopefully be partners for a long time into the future. And just the final bit, really, just the way that it links so nicely into English topics. So, for example, in year 2, we were doing before alternative wolf stories, sort of around the big bad wolf. And there was Big Bad Me that's performed. That was a fantastic show that the Little Angel held. And it was great just to see, and again, an alternative story to sort of the Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf that really did inspire some fantastic stories from the children afterwards. So, yeah, in a nutshell, it's essentially our experience of the partnership, and hopefully it continues long into the future.
Great. Thank you so much, Greg. Feel free to stay for as long as you can now. Off the back of what Sarah was saying of kind of where the partnership with schools started for Little Angel, last year we did a tour of Charlie Cook's favorite book, a Julia Donaldson story that we adapted into a play, a musical, and that would toured around the UK. And then we also received some Arts Council funding to be able to offer a workshop based on that show to schools around the UK as well. Um, and with that project, that was really the first time we were able to build relationships with schools all around the country, going as far as Scotland and Wales and bringing our work to places that hadn't heard of Little Angel before or worked with us before. So that really helped us structure what we wanted a school partnership program to look like for schools that weren't down the road from us. Like Greg said, Winton is walking distance. There are obviously lots of schools in the UK, so how they can work with us even when they are not just down the road. So I'm going to share my screen at the moment just to show what our schools partnership looks like. Can everyone see that? Yep. So yes, like I said, this is our schools partnership program. So it's bringing our shows, our digitally, and our live performances and workshops into your classroom, no matter where you're located. So within this partnership package, you'll get access to all of our shows as they come on our stage throughout the year. But if you cannot come to us, then this is an opportunity for you to be able to watch the shows in your classroom or in your school. And you'll get access to all the shows throughout the year. Here's an example of some of the shows that are coming up this year. And then we've divided it into 3 packages based off of what is most beneficial for your school. So we have package 1, which is digital only, and that gives you access, like I said, to all of our shows digitally throughout the year, and also to all of our online resources and workshop packages that accompany the shows as well. So giving you kind of curriculum ideas after you watch the show of what you can do in class and in school. Then we have package 2 that includes all of those things, the shows and the resources, but it also gives you access to one live performance or workshop in your school that year. So you can have a think of whatever you'd want that year. And in a minute, Ella's going to talk to us a bit more about the options there, but that would be us coming to you and doing a performance or workshop alongside you getting to actually watch all the digital shows and resources. And then package 3 is the same as that, except it's 2 live performances and workshops. So you'd get to do those in-school opportunities twice throughout the year. As a school partner, whatever package you sign up to here, you'd also be eligible for 10% off any additional workshops you'd want to book. So let's say you booked package 3, but you actually really wanted to have 3 workshops in school across the year, you'd be eligible to then get 10% off booking an additional workshop.
Sorry, could you just scroll down so I can actually see the difference in prices?
Yes, there you go. Sorry. And I can share this with you after the meeting as well. I'm going to send a follow-up email. And this is all on our website too. So because such a big part of this offer is our digital shows, we wanted to show you a little bit of a trailer of some of the shows that would be included in this year's partnership. So I'm going to ask Ella to share your screen so I'll stop sharing my screen. And I will also put the link to this page in the chat now so you can have a look at it, Emily. But yeah, these are just 2 trailers for some of the shows that would be included in this year's partnership. Thanks, Ella. And then we just have one other short one. This is our miniature circus show that will be up very soon, actually. Thank you, Ella. So that was an example of some of the shows that would be included in the partnership this year. And I'm also going to hand over to Ella now to talk about some of the example workshops that could take place in your school as part of package 2 and 3.
Thanks, Julia. We have a variety of workshops that span kind of all age groups from EYFS up to Key Stage 3. Generally, everything is adaptable and can be changed to fit the needs of your classes or year groups. So it's always worth getting in touch with us to kind of ask what we can do. For early years, we run a variety of sessions from guided play to kind of short and easy practice sessions. A good example of this is we run a joyful jellyfish workshop where all the students work together. They make their own little jellyfish tentacles that they then add to one big jellyfish that can then stay in your classroom. For Key Stage 1, we have a variety of options. We run a little makers workshop and a tabletop puppets workshops, which include kind of simple makes that we can theme to a story, historical period, or topic of your choice. So they can always link into what you're doing regularly within the classroom. For Key Stage 2, we run a shadow and light workshop, which is really popular, links to science curriculums, and of course teaches children about shadow puppetry. We're also really excited that increasingly secondary schools are quite keen to book us for workshops. So for Key Stage 3, we can run an introduction to puppetry session, which is a crash course in puppeteering where students learn essential skills and techniques needed to bring objects alive with movement to express thought and emotion. We're also in the process of developing a kind of 3-day course in making, devising and puppeteering. And I would say that's one that if you're interested, is good to kind of get in touch about. Finally, we are also happy to create and run bespoke offers if there's something particularly that you have in mind. We can often run a kind of week-long series where we come in and we work with all of your year groups separately. So that's always something you can get in touch with us about too. It's best to email hires@littleangeltheatre.com, or you can fill an inquiry form out on our website via the Our Schools tab, which is at the top.
Thank you, Ella. So yes, that was a whirlwind tour of all things schools related at Little Angel, and also what this schools partnership opportunity will look like. We currently have a school we're working with in Peterborough, and then like we said, we have our local partners, and then with the Charlie Cook project that I mentioned earlier, we've kind of worked all around the country. So we're really excited to see how we can bring Little Angel Theatre shows and workshops to more than just London. I know, Emily, for example, your school is based in Haringey. But now I'm just going to open it up to anyone if they have any questions. If you want to say it out loud, you can, or you are welcome to put it in the chat if you'd rather us read it out and answer it.
Hi, I have a question. What is like your most popular kind of workshop that you get booked for, just out of interest?
I think we're all going to say the same answer, but Ella, I might have you answer just so it's 100% accurate.
Kind of intrigued to hear what you think it is now. We get a lot of shadow and light inquiries for Key Stage 2, so that's often our most popular with that age group, just because it links really well into the science curriculum, and it's something that a lot of schools do. I would also say that our EYFS offer is super popular as well, so we do a lot of kind of sensory play workshops. What were you going to say, Julia?
I was going to say our Cuppet workshops.
Oh, yes.
Because I've heard about them so much recently in particular. And the Cuppet workshop is a puppet made from a paper cup, and doing kind of the step-by-step process of putting a puppet together and creating a character for them, and really for that young age group to learn the very fundamentals of puppetry. It's a really simple but fun way for a younger age group to get involved. Sarah, I see your hand is up.
I've put my hand up, yes.
Yes, thank you.
It's just occurred to me that I don't think we've mentioned that if you are a school outside of London and we do have one of our shows touring to a venue near you, or it's touring and it's suitable to go into schools, that can also become part of the partnership as well. So your the non-digital part of the offer can be going to see a show in a local venue or one of our shows coming into your school, depending on what we've got out and about during that year. So I don't think we highlighted that.
Yes, and I think that's good to point out, because with that Charlie Cook literacy project I spoke about earlier, I think the idea was with some of the schools that got that workshop, they were actually near some of the venues that the show was touring to, so that connection was able to be made when they saw the show, and then were able to do the workshop as well. Great. There is a question in the chat about the Traveling Project, which is the Charlie Cook Literacy Project, success connecting puppetry and theater with literacy. So yeah, I mean, I could be biased with this considering I worked on the project, but it was really lovely to hear all of the teachers' feedback around how they hadn't thought about using puppets before when exploring a picture book. And I think that was the biggest takeaway for teachers was seeing how everyday objects could be turned into a puppet and how that could so easily animate a story and get children really engaged in a book, getting them to use performance skills and oracy skills, even if they weren't a confident speaker or English was a second language, or if they just didn't feel confident as a performer as well. So I think that is the puppetry really gave an opportunity for young children to be able to express themselves and articulate a story, as well as teachers being able to think about how they could embed that within their curriculum. Yes, Sarah, hand is up.
And I also wanted to say how there will be lots of online resources for teachers, lesson plans, schemes of work, videos to accompany the shows, so that teachers can get the most out of their experience of watching the show with their class. Maybe it's just for fun. Maybe we're just going to watch the show and it's an enjoyable experience and we're just enjoying art for art's sake. Or maybe there's more work that can happen around the watching of the show, especially if it's a book that you're also reading in class as well. So those resources will be available too.
Yes.
Which will always include ideas for puppetry. Always.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Great. Any other questions?
This all sounds very exciting. Thank you very much for sharing all the what we could get up to. My question is, if our school we have lots of different topics, lots of different like for our topic sessions we have maybe like it could be history or is there potential to have a session that might be tailored to a particular theme or idea that we're working on at the moment? Is that possible maybe?
Yeah, so I think Ella, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but we have like our kind of menu of options. So when you signed up for the partnership, you'll be sent all the options you could look from to see if a workshop would suit your needs. But if not, if you pose us with an idea of something that you're working on in your class, or you have a specific idea for a workshop, then we can support with creating something bespoke for your pupils, depending on their age as well, and kind of what you want to get out of it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. Ella, was there anything to add to that or?
No, just it's also some of our off-the-shelf offers. So like Little Makers, for instance, is a make that we can take to any school, but that can be themed around something specific. So for example, we've done Where the Wild Things Are, we've done fairy tales, we've done kind of all sorts. So it sort of depends what you're doing in the classroom, really.
Great. Thank you. We're just at the end now, but we could stay on a couple minutes longer if anyone else has a question. I'm sorry, Emily, did you unmute yourself earlier and then I?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a very different place to the other primary schools because I'm actually a performing arts practitioner, so I do puppetry and a variety of mask work and stuff at school anyway. And I know that like there is a big move for everybody to have digital content, but I teach in a special school and our kids consume a lot of digital content. And actually the biggest impact that we've had is them having either things come into school or us take, and we've gone to Little Angel quite a few times because it's just perfect for a lot of our more sensory kids. I suppose for me personally, looking at the packages on offer, I don't really want all of the workshop material, obviously because I'm doing it anyway. What I want is more physical hands-on connection with the theatre rather than digital content. So I suppose what I'm asking is, how would that be part of this partnerships without having to have all the necessary the digital content? Does that it
Yeah,
sounds
that
like
makes
for
sense.
the moon, but for me, I kind of coming to the shows and having people come in, just I can't replicate that digitally. That's what we need from our contact with Little Angel.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also, you're not very, I guess, yeah, it's great that you've come in to see shows as already as well. And I think that's why we have those package options where we come into the school because we know that the digital offer, like for example, the package that's digital only, that is really for schools that are so far away that it
Mm.
makes sense that that would be kind of the limitation of what they're
Mm.
able to, the relationship they can have with us. But I think the idea with the partnership as well is we do really want to work closely with each school to be able to support what they need and what their pupils need. So I guess for you, the option of having as many in-school opportunities, us coming to you as possible, would be what we could, yeah, what we could arrange of like what you'd want that to look like, when you'd want that to happen, and in terms of shows, Sarah, I might need you to jump in with this bit, but thinking about if a school getting access to watch our content digitally, if they were close enough to instead be able to watch it in person and they would choose to do that rather than watch it digitally, I wonder if that's something that we could do on a case by case basis or yeah.
Yeah, I think it would definitely have to be on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
We couldn't promise that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I think
I understand that. I understand you've got to have it, and we are a sort of slightly different case, but um, I just think what the Little Angel does is amazing. I think the shows are amazing. I absolutely love the work. Um, Puppets for our kids are absolutely magic, complete game changer. It's completely changed my practice as a drama practitioner.
mm,
Um, and I just want the kids to be able to have more kind of hands-on stuff with people who are far more expert than me.
yeah, and it's really lovely to hear you say that because I think again talking about this Charlie Cook project again, but that was one of the main pieces of feedback is how they saw that the workshop itself and using puppetry worked well with their students with their additional needs, and how that was something they were really going to incorporate into their learning and yeah, just seeing the benefit of puppetry that they hadn't thought about before. Obviously, you're a performing arts practitioner, so you know it, but I think, yeah, it is really valuable. And that's why we want to be able to share this with schools all around the UK. But I'm happy for us to have a separate conversation more about kind of which package option would probably be the most suitable for your school and then what we could do to make it, you know, if you, those hands on learning experiences for your pupils, like how we can make that work. Um,
Great, thank you.
Great. Thank you. That is it. Sorry we've run over, but thank you so much for joining. Sarah, I think you can stop the recording now, but thank you for joining our webinar about schools partnerships.